Dreaming of a life back on Jupiter. My wife and I have put together a plan to put Jupiter back in the water and sail across the North Atlantic to Spain within a year. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. Straight up. How far is it? So we are west coast, top of the Sea Cortez of Mexico, right? So basically it's the US border. 2,500 miles down to the Panama Canal. We could do that in 15 days, say, non-stop, right? So that's a sort of safe, I like to plan like minimum of 100 miles a day, possibly 180 miles a day. We've got the current with us helping us. We've got the wind helping us in that direction. That's all great. So I'm ballparking 15 days to Panama, non-stop. I only get 13 days off work, but I'm going to take a few extra days, 1 month, and we'll do that passage through the Panama Canal. It takes 2 or 3 days. Our mission then is to get from Panama up to Florida. We then need to crawl the east coast up to Chesapeake, which is pretty much the latitude you need to catch the Atlantic high pressure system across to Spain. So from Panama to Florida, 1,000 miles. Problem with that is there's land in the way. So it's not a direct line. You've got Haiti and Cuba in the way. That in itself is not the problem. The biggest problem is to go through in between Haiti and Cuba. It is northeasterly course. And what wind have you got? Northeasterly, especially funneling between Cuba and Haiti. This is where you need those extra weeks to wait for the right wind. I don't have that. I have 13 days off. Maybe I can extend it out to 17 days off, but that's the big challenge there. If I was just to allow the wind to push us further west, we could end up in the Gulf of Mexico, and we've got the same problem, is trying to get east across the bottom of Florida. That may be the option that we choose. It's just going to take longer, much longer. So not only are we unable to do a direct track from Panama to Florida, but we've got pirates to worry about. You can check out a video of our passage from Isla Mujeres in Mexico south to Panama. We had to go way out of our way to avoid a known area of pirates off the Nicaragua, Honduran coast, which extends way out into the Caribbean because of the islands way out there on the reefs where the fishermen hang out and turn into pirates when a sailing boat goes past. So we've got those to worry about. And even the south coast of Haiti has had pirate attacks from the Haitians. Obviously, we're not going to be lingering. We're going to get through there as quickly as possible, but we're pushing against really strong trade winds. Hard work. Oh, and did I mention the hurricanes in the Caribbean? Yeah, I forgot about that bit. So, of course, we would like to avoid the summertime. It's still doable. You'd normally get a week's warning if there's something building, and we can do what you got to do to avoid a hurricane. All before I go back to work. Challenge. It's going to be a challenge. All right, from Florida up to the Chesapeake, just under 1,000 miles, probably a week of sailing to get up to the Chesapeake. And we can hunker down there, I can go back to work and then plan the next passage, the big one, the North Atlantic Ocean. The North Atlantic. From Chesapeake, Norfolk area, we'll leave Norfolk, sort of heading in an arcing northerly track before coming back down to maybe to the Azores, or maybe you just go all the way to Spain. I haven't checked out flights from the Azores, etc. But it's a possibility we can stop there and cut off 4 or 5 days. And I'd like to see the Azores anyway, you know. The ideal time to do that, looking at the pilot charts for the North Atlantic, the ideal time to do that is May, June. Obviously, summertime is more ideal because it's warmer, because it gets pretty cold. In fact, we do hit the edge of the expected iceberg range. So we would like to do it in the summer, please. And that is also the better time for the winds. The route is taking advantage of the Atlantic High, or sometimes called the Azores High. And we would arc across the top of the Atlantic High, take advantage of the following winds there. And how far is it? From Norfolk to Spain, 3,500 miles. So there's at least 22 days of sailing right there. That month, I'll take the entire month off work, and that should work out for us. So that's in a nutshell, our passage plan. 4 different passages culminating in the Atlantic crossing to get to Spain, back to my wife, who will probably have lived there for the last 6 months or a year, you know. And then I guess that just begins our Mediterranean adventure on life on Jupiter. Gorgeous, eh? The Pacific. That's not where we're going. Whatever. We do a little bit to get down to Panama. Anyway, crewing. Last video we put out, we asked who wants to come. Quite a few of you, apparently. There's, yeah, a lot of replies. Thank you very much. Some of them are complete essays, you know, even including some YouTube video stuff. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Nice to meet you guys. We'd love to sail with you all. But history will show on Jupiter, we've had 1 crew only as crew on the boat. So 3 of us, so Princess and I and 1 other guy. One was a good mate who crewed with us, Arthur, come across from Sumatra, Indonesia, all the way across to Rodriguez, the other side of the Indian Ocean. Boy, I'm glad we had him on board, because the autopilot died on about day 2 and it was blowing 30 to 40 knots for a week. Nasty. Then we picked up a female backpacker who was hiking around Madagascar by herself and needed a ride back to South Africa. Cheers, Tanya. And again, was a great experience having her on board. This time, it's most likely Princess won't be with us, so I want some crew, yeah? Ideally, for any sort of passage of any length, minimum of 3, but due to popular demand, we may have 5. And the selection was pretty simple. Our dear friends who are our top tier patrons, who have been supporting us for a few years. So not only do they deserve to be chosen for a passage, but they're actually quite capable as well. So that's a win-win. One of our dear patrons, a lovely couple, will just join us for the Panama Canal Transit because that was something that on their bucket list that they wanted to do. See the Panama Canal from the inside. So, crossing the Atlantic at this stage, we look like we're going to have 5 on board. We have 3 cabins, 3 queen cabins. So, space-wise, no problem at all. But you know what? It's a consideration about weight. 5 people, let's ballpark it at about 400 kilograms or 900 pounds compared to the normal 2 people. So it is a consideration, but it'll be downwind sailing all the way. I'm going to try and lose some weight off Jupiter in other ways. Maybe we'll carry a little less fuel, we won't fill up. Or if we do fill up, we won't take extra jerry cans. We will keep the water levels less than half full, making sure that we got reserve water and the water maker is working. But it's going to be a different dynamic to have that amount of people on board. It's also going to be really nice because what that would mean is that each couple, assuming they want to be together, could do a shift. Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case is, can do a shift together and we can leave them alone for say 6 hours and they can manage that how they want. One can be sleeping while the other one is on watch. They can do 2 hours, whatever they want to do for about 6 hours. And then the next couple comes on board and they can do whatever they want to do for 6 hours. Everyone is getting plenty of rest. And then I can be a floater. That's one that just won't flush. No, a floater is I can just sleep when I can sleep and then be awake when I need to be awake. Like if there's a sail change or if there is some weather coming in, I need to be awake a lot, and that's when I will be up a lot. When things are going smoothly, I can have a good 6 hours sleep if I can. Not good at sleeping long times on passage, but anyway. Advantages in having a heap of crew. Obviously, the biggest priority is to make landfall with the same amount of people. That would be a bonus. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that happens. And then that's a whole nother subject about safety. I think we covered that pretty well in our crossing ocean checklist, which we made back in South Africa before we spent 34 days at sea to get to Caribbean. Anyway, I'm really hanging to get back out there. Wow, it's beautiful. Thanks, Oregon. Thank you for the little bit of sunshine. It's been lovely actually, but not today. All right, so that's pretty much wrapped up. We've got to get the boat ready. No, first things first, we've got to get to the boat, got to get the boat ready, discuss the passage plans, which is 4 separate passages, and crewing. For us, my wife and I, we've got some additional challenges. Oakley. How do we get Oakley to Spain? Now, there's a chance he could fit in an aeroplane. He's not going to go in the cargo hold. My wife's already told me that, flat out, not going in cargo hold. The only way he can go on an aeroplane is next to her. However, he's a bit big to fit under the seat, like in a carrier. He's a bit too big, and then the only way we're going to really find out if they'll let him on board is to buy the ticket and turn up at check-in. Anyway, so that's an issue for us. Maybe he's better off going on the boat, but that means Princess is coming on the boat, and of course the challenges of keeping him on board on an ocean passage for 14, 20 days. So that's what lays ahead of us. Dying to get into it. Let's just see what actually ends up happening, yeah? Cheers.